What up is Marcus Dynasty Fun Dads? Welcome to the channel. We are going to be doing the three biggest dynasty buys right now. These are guys that we're going to be doing some trades through what I have seen with some of these players go for. We're going to do the biggest running back buy, the biggest quarterback buy, and the biggest wide receiver buy to right now. Their ADP, everything, give you the details that you need to know to go out and get one of these three players. If you're new to the channel, we are still giving away this DeAndre Swift free signed jersey. When we hit 2K, we'll be giving away to one of you guys. If you need me to do any consulting for your teams and stuff, Patreon's down below the description box. We're going to be starting off with quarterback because I think it's the easiest, maybe not the easiest one, but it's the one that we have the least amount of stats for. It is going to be Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, of course, was 102 last year for the Jets. You look at what the Jets have done. They have put him in a position to succeed with Elijah Moore, with Garrett Wilson, with Breece Hall, with a little bit of Michael Carter sprinkled in. Like, they have everything that you would potentially want. They even have Corey Davis there as a New York Jet. If we look at where he is ADP-wise, he's quarterback 19 in Dynasty, which is, I think, is a ridiculous. I talked about how well I think Zach Wilson will do this year. And I think even if he underperforms, I think QB 19 is the minimal value you're going to get, and I think his value is only going to be up higher from there. We're looking at a Joe Burrow jump, and even if it's not a Joe Burrow jump, we can even look at like a Mac Jones jump. I think puts him up 5-6 spots at being only 22.8 years old. That's another thing that we have to look at is age. When it comes to quarterbacks here, he is younger than Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. He's younger than both of them. He's actually younger than Kenny Pickett by a year. So we're talking about a quarterback. Let's just say Zach Wilson had a full another year under his belt. He would be the equal age to some of these guys that have come out older, like a Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow was older when he came out, and then now you're looking at Kenny Pickett, older when he's coming out. So Zach Wilson's super young, and I don't see the Sam Darnold type of talent. I see the talent that is actually much bigger and better than that. Zach Wilson has mobility. He has the chance to be, even if it's not Herbert, even if it's not Burrow, he has a chance to be even better than Carr, better than Kirk Cousins type. He has that low-end QB1 possibility. I mean, he has mobility, he has an arm, he has the weapons around him, and really he's being disvalued at QB 19. I just think that's ridiculous. 67.3, so you're talking about a sixth round pick that I am jumping over all the time when it comes to, and this is super flex. This is not one QB. This is super flex. 67.3. Super. I mean, if you told me Zach Wilson in this 2022 class, where would you have him? It would be top two picks. It would be easily ahead of Kenny Pickett. It would be him and Breece Hall. Breece Hall. I love Breece Hall. I would be very hard to, if you need a quarterback, I would say Zach Wilson 101 in 2022. That's how much I like Zach Wilson. And I think all four quarterbacks, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, all should be the top two pick. If you have a top two pick and you desperately need a quarterback, Kenny Pickett's not the route to go. I've talked about this. It is going after one of these sophomore quarterbacks that underperformed, that I believe have still tremendous value. These quarterbacks take some time to develop. There's a lot of quarterbacks that have started off super slow and then they work themselves in. I mean, it happens. It's a very complex league. Let's look at some trades though. Cortland Sutton straight up. This is super flex. Cortland Sutton straight up for Zach Wilson. Ridiculous. I am taking Zach Wilson 100 times out of 100. I'm just taking Zach Wilson as even a third quarterback, fourth quarterback, because I think his success, his baseline is QB 19. I think it's going to rise from there. Daniel Jones, a second, and Kadarius Toney for Zach Wilson. Daniel Jones, not a super big fan of. I'm going to take Zach Wilson in this trade. Again, 100 times out of 100. Elijah Mitchell, Zach Wilson. I'm taking Zach Wilson 100 times out of 100. And then Derek Carr and Christian Kirk for Zach Wilson. Again, I'm taking Zach Wilson 100 times out of 100 in these situations. I'm just taking the upside. I want that quarterback one. Derek Carr is awesome, but I mean, you're looking at a quarterback 12, 13, 14. I want quarterback 7. I want quarterback 8. I want the next Joe Burrow type jump. I want the next, and that's not even saying Herbert type jump. I mean, Joe Burrow had a really up and down season, ended up as a top 8 quarterback in fantasy, and now look at dynasty-wise, he's quarterback 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there, depending on what analyst you're looking at. So that is why Zach Wilson is my number one quarterback buy right now. He's the lowest of the three when it comes to Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Ham. I think he should be right up there with Trey Lance. You look at Trey Lance, and he's up there at QB 10, and you have Zach Wilson at 19, and I don't have a huge gap difference between them, so that just shows you where I value Zach Wilson. Number 2, remember when I constantly have told people sell running backs after the age of 25? I think I've said that for the last 2 years, I would say. The last year and a half at least. The drop-off is 25.5. That's just what it is. And so now I'm going to be telling you to buy a running back after age 25.5. Why am I doing that? It's because it's a running back that has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, and his worst performance is 13, and it's because he was suspended. It's 2, 13, 5, 9, 3, 2, 13, 5, 3, 9, and 7. 7 last year. Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, 26 years old. I understand the concerns. He was injured last year. Man, almost got the burp there. He was injured last year. His knee was injured. You could see the explosiveness was not necessarily there. Tony Pollard is there. He's not a starting running back, in my opinion. He did look a little bit more explosive at times. But still, Zeke, injured and still number 7 overall. And he's being traded way undervalued. RB25. He is being traded as a high-end RB3, which is absolutely nuts. Because let's just say this year, he goes back into high-end RB2 category. And then next year, he's low-end, maybe the next 2 years after that, he's low-end RB2, high-end RB3. We are looking at a potential player that is what we want to get from some of these rookies. When it came to Michael Carter, when it came to pre-Trey Sermon before the draft, when it came to even Cam Akers and stuff, we're hoping for seasons that get into that high RB2. Antonio Gibson has struggled and stuff like that. We want a high-end RB2, a low-end RB2 for a couple seasons, that 3-year gap window, maybe even that 4th year is an RB3 or something like that. An RB that, yes, continues to be old and older and older and older, but the value's there. At RB25, I am buying him, and I'll show you some of the traits here. He's had 65-plus targets in the passing game in the last 3 years. That's including last year. He's had 34 touchdowns in the last 3 years. So you're looking at 11-ish touchdowns, 65-plus targets in the passing game. Even if that gets dropped a little bit, again, you still have the rushing, the 1,000 yards rushing, and the probably 10 touchdowns rushing. You have a guy that's going to be high-end RB2, probably minimum if he's healthy, all the way up into, again, that 3.97 range. So you're talking about a mid to low-end RB1. And we would not be shocked if Zeke came out, looked extremely healthy. He's a generational talent. I've said that before. I've seen plenty of other people think that as well. That I would not be shocked if he comes out and all of a sudden he's RB6 at the end of the year and we go, oh yeah, now this is the time that Zeke drops. I think everyone always talks about you gotta sell the running backs that are 25.5 or 26 or 27, and I say that too. But guess what? Their value goes down, and so if you're somebody that is stuck onto Zeke this long, you can't really trade him now. So now it's one of those times where if you sold him a year or two ago, maybe it's a time to rebuy in and reinvest into Zeke if he's RB25. So Zeke in a second for Gibson. That means if I had Gibson, I would be getting Zeke in a second. I'll take Zeke in a second. I will. I still have major concerns with Antonio Gibson. I loved him, but they apparently the Washington Commanders do not, and they have showed they do not. Gus Edwards, Thielen, and James White. That would be a dime, a quarter, and a nickel for $1. So that is not what I like. The Thielen can maybe Thielen's like 40 cents. You got 40 cents. You got Gus Edwards that's like 10 cents, maybe 15 cents. You got James White that's a penny. And for Zeke, and so I'm taking Zeke 100 times out of 100 there. Zeke and a 2023 first. This is a tougher one because if you're a contending team, you want Zeke Elliott. I'm taking Zeke because you're going to get 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there next year. That's what you're probably going to be getting or giving up, and I'll take Zeke. It's tough. It's going to be hard to part with that 2023 first, but I'll take it, or I'll give it up. And if you're a buying team, or if you're a selling team, this is a good trade for you to get that 2023 first. So it's an equal trade, depending on what side you are. And then Zeke for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Brandon Ayuk. I am taking Zeke. I am taking the running back that is desperately needed for most teams. I am taking Zeke. I'm just shocked that he has dropped this far. I look at even players even like Aaron Jones, and you look at even like Saquon, who's a little bit younger, even Derrick Henry. I mean, these players are 5, 6, 7 spots ahead of Zeke Elliott. You're talking about that much more capital that you have to give up to get them. And Zeke, it has that ability to finish Derrick Henry-ish style. Yes, Tony Pollard is a little bit more of a thorn in the side versus any Tennessee running back, but still, Zeke has shown to be a number one running back consistently. That 13 his sophomore year, we'll just say that he was suspended for those first few games. So you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, basically of 9 or better. Basically a 9 or better pace through points per game. And so that's what we're looking for. The last player is going to be a wide receiver. And I know I don't know if I've actually talked about him on the channel much. It's a 24-year-old wide receiver. And we look at some of these wide receivers. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle are getting closer to this guy's age, which is surprising because I feel like this guy's been around for a couple seasons, and he has. But it is Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney was finish of 22 last year. 22. So where do you think a 24-year-old that is, nothing's changed. His situation's only gotten better per se. Justin Fields will be, can't be much worse. He's the only target there along with Cole Kmet. I'm not going to believe in Velus Jones Jr. And Allen Robinson's gone. So what would his ADP probably be? If he's a young, studly wide receiver, probably ADP of 25, 24, 22, maybe somewhere around there. No, his ADP is 32. It just shows that there is some value to be had there. Darnell Mooney, I saw in one of my leagues get traded for a second. He basically said to our league, said, hey, a second gets him. I'm looking for more of I'm looking for different positionals that he wanted different position players or whatever. And I had a bunch of wide receivers, so I'm like, man, I just wanted to buy him for a second, but I didn't have any seconds in the league. But it is what it is. I see Darnell Mooney into the light of two different players. DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin. Try buying those players. You're not going to be able to buy them. Why? Because they're extremely expensive and they're high-end RB or wide receiver twos. Who can you get that's going to probably produce almost the exact same stat line and is going to cost you way less? It's Darnell Mooney. Because Darnell Mooney only had 4 receiving touchdowns last year. DJ Moore is not a receiving touchdown guru. Terry McLaurin, maybe a little bit more, but again, Carson Wentz is going to be a problem there. Darnell Mooney is the cheaper version of that wide receiver 2 that you can get, and he's just cheaper. He's just cheaper. Darnell Mooney or Jahan Dotson. I'm taking Darnell Mooney because he is. I already know what I'm getting, and Jahan Dotson is what we're hoping to get. We're hoping to get Darnell Mooney status basically. We got Darnell Mooney for a 2nd, 4th, and 5th. Like I said, he was a trade for a 2nd, maybe it was a 2nd and a 5th in my league. Whatever it was. 2nd, 4th, and 5th, I am taking Darnell Mooney. Easy. Michael Carter and what did I say? Michael Carter and what? Oh, Albert. Oh, I couldn't even read that. For Darnell Mooney, I'm taking Darnell Mooney. And Darnell Mooney, again, is that super. I mean, he's a reliable wide receiver. He's shown that he's been reliable since day one. He's not the Darius Slayton where he had a peak of interest and all of a sudden he just fell off the map. I think Darnell Mooney is actually somebody that will sustain fantasy value. And who else do they got? No one. So worst case scenario is you're halfway through the season and he's doing really, really well and you don't need that wide receiver. You can trade him. Maybe you can trade Darnell Mooney for a first or Darnell Mooney plus something for a first. I think there's value to be had there. Once you start seeing some success there with Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields, I think there's going to be some area to be had there with Darnell Mooney. So buy Darnell Mooney. That's my other buy of the time. All right? So this is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. Peace out. We'll see you again tomorrow.